We're staying in our modifying objects.dwg file. And as you can see, I've done a double click on the wheel to zoom extents so that we're looking at all of our floor plan. And you'll notice that the modify panel is still pinned open. So you can unpin that now by clicking on the pin icon, goes back into the ribbon. The reason being, we're going to be looking at these commands here on the modify panel, trim and extend, like so. I'll just hit escape to obviously lose the little flyout menu. We're then going to zoom in on our hot desking area here. So get in nice and close, pan a little if you need to. And what we're going to do, we're going to create some desks just using some line geometry, but we're going to trim and extend that line geometry to make the hot desking area look a little bit more sensible on the floor plan. Now, to do that, you need to go down to your object snaps here, click on the flyout, and make sure that you've got endpoint, midpoint, center, intersection, and extension ticked. Nothing else. You might have had node left ticked from previous videos. Just untick that by clicking on it. You only need those 5 running object snaps. And we're going to utilize the extension snap. And you'll see it's really cool. So I'm going to click on the little triangle there to lose that menu. Make sure that your object snap tracking is on as well. See, it's highlighted blue there. It's on. And you also want your polar tracking on as well. Make sure that's on too. And make sure it's set to 90 degrees, like so. So click on the flyout, select 90, like so. Once you've got all of your drafting settings ready to go, we're going to go up to the line command on the draw panel. So there's the line command there, like so. I'm going to come into the drawing area. Now, we're not going to select our first point. We're going to hover over it like that. And it's that intersection there where the internal wall meets the main wall. As we come down, you'll see that we get an extension distance. Can you see that? And what I want you to do there is I want you to select a distance of 900 and press enter. And as you do that, can you see your line now starts 900 down from the original point that you hovered over. And that's all to do with your object snap tracking, your object snaps, and your polar tracking. Now, we're going to utilize polar tracking to literally go all the way across. Can you see the green dash line? As long as that green dash line is there and you get that intersection on the other side, we're going to click like so. Now, if I click there, that kind of places, can you see an orange line all the way across? Press enter to confirm that, like so. Now, here's what our boss has told us to do. He's not happy that we've only got 3 hot desking areas. So we need to utilize that orange line that we've just created and extend it to the right to create a 4th hot desking area. Okay, so here's where trim and extend come in. We go up to the modify panel, click on the flyout and select extend. Now, if you're using a newer version of AutoCAD, you will find that if I hover over that, it'll extend automatically. Now, that's because they've changed the workflow of the trim and extend command. If you're using an older version of AutoCAD, you would normally have to do this. You'd have to right click and you'd have to go boundary edge. You'd have to select an edge first like that and enter to confirm, and then hover there and extend like that, like so, and then enter to finish, okay? In later, newer versions of AutoCAD, it extends to the nearest available edge straight away. Just be aware of that one. So what we've done there now is we've extended our orange line to represent our desks. That's great, but that orange line crosses all of our internal walls. Looks a bit messy, doesn't it? Well, that's where trim comes in. We go up to trim, click on the flyout and select trim. Now, again, with older versions of AutoCAD, you will need to select these 2 lines here, for example, as cutting edges. So you'd need to do it this way. Right click, cutting edges, 1, 2, press enter to confirm, and then trim that little line in there and enter to finish. That's the older workflow for older versions of AutoCAD. If I go back up to trim though, newer versions of AutoCAD, it just highlights the bit that is going to be trimmed and you can click on it. The workflow is a little bit quicker in newer versions of AutoCAD. Press enter to finish to come out of the trim command. So what we've got there is a neat little set of hot desking areas. We've extended over to the main structural wall there for our boss because he wants 4, and we've got 4 desk lines, so to speak. So those lines, the geometry of those lines represents our little IKEA tables that we've put in there for people to hot desk from. Do you see the problem? We only have 3 chairs. So remember I told you not to explode your array, like so? All we've got to do now is go over here, double click in the columns, 4, enter, it pops an extra chair in at the spacing of all the other chairs. That's why you don't explode arrays. And I cannot stress that enough, because you might need to go back to the array, add some more objects to it. So I'll close the array now, like so. All done, as you can see. Now, if I click on that array, it's just like any other AutoCAD object. If I click on that grip there, like so, I can now use my polar tracking. Can you see? I'm moving the whole array vertically upwards, making sure I'm on the 90-degree polar tracking line. Get that as close to your tables as you like. Click, hit escape to deselect. There's our hot desking areas, neat and tidy with all the chairs in line, ready to go. Utilizing our trim and extend commands and a little bit of magic there with our rectangular array.